Okay, everybody, we're about a third of the way through, and you may be coming to a place where your New Year's resolutions, your promises to yourself are waning a little bit in terms of getting your stuff done. So if you are finding that it is hard to either get your stuff done, your grades are not where they should be, you're having a hard time like achieving at the level that you know you're capable of doing, I want to offer you a schedule trick. We have lots and lots of tricks, but here's one that I want you to think about. And that is to make a schedule of what it actually is going to look like day to day. We've talked about how you need to be thinking about doing school like your full-time job. It is your daytime job. It is your full-time job. But what does that actually mean? And people often will be like, well, yeah, I got to study, and I do study, but when, where? Because one of the things about most jobs you will get after college is that you have to learn how to work without direct supervision. But that is a hard skill to develop. So let me give you some tricks. First of all, we're going to get you a schedule, okay? And so what I want you to do is I'm going to ask you to go, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to take you through a very basic scheduling technique. Okay. So if you go to this tiny URL here at the top, I'm going to make this big for you. Let's see, let me make this as big as I can. So this short URL.at/BCRS8. You will be able to get to this example schedules. Okay. So now what is this? What is this? Here's a blank one, but here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to create in color what your your work week is going to be. What does it take to actually get this stuff done? Now, it's actually not going to be the full schedule, but it'll get you on the track. So we're going to fill in your classes. You're going to pick what colors you associate with those classes. We're going to figure out when you're going to eat, when you're going to take breaks, where you're going to study, when you're going to get up, when you're going to go to sleep, the whole business. Okay. On this document, which has the first one is blank, these ones have some example schedules of what it might look like. If you're an athlete, here's what sort of a football schedule might look like, right? You wake up at 7:45 every day to be ready for a class, and here's when football happens. Here is how to get supplemental instruction in there. Here's another football schedule. These are real people's schedules, and it's a plan that works. I hear lots of feedback from students that this really helps and really works. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this short URL.at/BCRS8, and then you're going to go into File, Make a Copy. Okay. You're going to call it Megan's Spring Schedule, but you're going to put your name. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start figuring out when are your classes and that kind of thing. So let's say you have a 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. class, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's call it literature. And literature in my world is blue. In my head, it's blue. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go over to this where it's sort of like filling a bucket. And I'm going to pick one. I'm going to say it's that color blue. Okay. Then I'm going to kind of grab this whole thing and I'm going to hit copy, Control C. There we go. Oops, didn't work. If it doesn't work, just oops. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. So you can always undo. I'm just going to grab this and copy. And there we go. Let's say I have Dignitas from 12 to 2 every Tuesday, Thursday. I'm gonna have Dignitas. Now in my world, Dignitas is green in my head. So I'm gonna make Dignitas. We're gonna make that green. Okay, so you're gonna sort of go through here and I can help you with this. If you wanna make an appointment with me, I can help you with this, okay? You do that. Let's say you've got a math class. Let's go with math is, let's see what we're going to go with math. You're starting to get the point, right? Math is orange in my world. So, and that's actually 150. It's going to be a 130 class, but I'm just going to take 130 math. I'm going to take these 2 blocks because I basically get done at 3. That's orange in my world. So I'm going to hit copy and get it into those places. And I have one more class. I have interpersonal, and interpersonal is here, and it is 2 classes or 2 periods. It's purple, and I'm gonna hit copy. All right, there we go. That's my schedule. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is then, so once you have your classes in there, I want you to figure out what time you wake up. Now, key thing is, this really is about what time you go to bed. So I want you to think about, okay, I have to wake up. I usually am up by, you have to be honest here, in order to get breakfast, a shower, and I strongly recommend you do that, but you figure out what you do. If you don't do breakfast, try to add in a few minutes just to grab something. But I usually get up at 8. Sort of it takes me 8 to 9 is usually when I wake up. That's not actually true. I wake up before that, but we're going to go with pretend I'm a college student. I'm going to let's make it 8:30. Okay. So I'm going to wake up at 8:30 every day. 8:30. I'm going to make that shower, get up, shower, breakfast. Get up, shower, and breakfast. And make that. Okay. Make that good morning yellow. I do that every day, even though I don't. So here's one of the things is you want to have a consistent time to wake up, even if I don't have to be there. I don't have class until noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You want to pick a time that you can be pretty consistent in getting up. Okay. If I'm going to bed, getting up around 8:30, I should probably be aiming to be in bed by midnight. So I'm going to make this, if you want to, I can make that it's honestly, I'm not going to get to bed before that. So I'm going to make midnight. I'm going to get to bed, be asleep. And I'm going to make that across the board. Okay. That I'm going to go to bed. And one of the things for your immune system and for your life is that it's going to be better. The more you're able to be consistent, the better that is. And then what we want to do is, there we go. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is, you're going to have this file. You're going to get up at 8:30. You're going to get, and then we're going to get to sleep in on Saturday and Sunday. So we're going to sleep in on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. I'm going to go to bed. Generally, I want to be doing 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. I want to be going to sleep. So I'm getting a good 8.5 hours of sleep on a regular basis. Now, here's the tricky part. We need to figure out what other obligations you have. So let's say you have a job. You work here, I work here, and I work here. I also do, I work here, and work here. And I often do Saturday shift. Okay, so you want to get your obligations in there. Now we've got breakfast in there, but we need to get lunch in there. So we're gonna get lunch in there, lunch, and lunch. And I am pretty consistently a 6 p.m. dinner person. Dinner. Now it's time to figure out when am I going to do my homework and where. The key is you need to be finding places that are not your room. Now, if you are honestly able to work and actually focus in your room, fine. But if you say, well, I'm going to work in the lounge in summers, you will maybe get a little bit done, but you're going to be interrupted and you're going to get to watch what's going on. That's fault. You can add that in if you want to do some studying in the lounge or something like that. That's fine down the road, but I want to make sure that you are getting the studying that you need throughout this whole thing. So what I'm going to suggest you do is there are three main places. The library is the best place, but you have to figure out what's going to work for you. The first floor of the library is a little bit more talkative. The second floor is quieter. The third floor is the most quiet. Now, I have to go to the third floor of the library because, as you probably all know, if there's a human being anywhere near me, I'm going to find you and talk to you. So I have to go somewhere where I'm not going to be distracted, where I can really focus and I get in one of those cubicles, right? But you need to figure out what kind of space do you need. Some people like the Benedictine Commons is a nice place. Some people do actually can study in Storm's Den. They just put in their earbuds and they just sort of go, right? You need to figure out where can you honestly work. And we'll talk more about what you're doing there, but I want you to put in some work time. So I'm going to do, because I'm going to do the library. I'm going to get there and do an hour before. Actually, I'm going to try, actually, because it's not enough time to really get it in. I'm going to put in, and here I'm going to put work, study, library. And I'm going to start putting in, because that's going to be my best place. Okay. And my studying is really important. So I'm making it red. Okay. But you can decide what color you want. Red stresses you out. Don't use that. 2. And I'm going to do in there. Oh, I got to get quick lunch. What I'm going to do at lunch in here, I'll do lunch right before quick lunch, before dig. I'm going to get time in here. I'm going to do work a couple hours in here. I'm going to give myself a break in here because that's a lot. I'm going to do there, and then I'm going to get a couple hours in before I go for the weekend. Now, if you notice, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's only 12 hours. That's half of what I need to be doing to do my full-time job. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm willing to do some work, and I'm going to go to the Benny Commons from on Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to do some Benny Commons, study Benny Commons. Okay, I'm going to do this. Oops, let me get that red as well. Okay, I'm going to do that. Oops, let's get this. Copy. Do some in there. Oops. I'm going to get that red. Okay, so what you're doing here is you're just going to get this copied in. Oops. But we need to get some more hours in here, because we need to be, you're supposed to be around 30 hours. I'm going to try to, on this, get to about 20. Okay. Now, what I'm realizing, I need to get some work done. So I'm going to actually throw in some studying before. And what I might do is, instead of getting a full hour in, when I think about these times, and what I'm doing is, I'm not sitting down and studying for an hour. I'm breaking it into 20-minute chunks. I'm going to do 20 minutes on high quality, intense sprint, and then a 5-minute break, and then 20 minutes on and a 5-minute break. Well, I could probably get at least 20 or 1 or 2 sprints in before my classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm going to throw that in there. And I'll make those red. Now let's see what we've got. Okay. So now when we count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Now we're getting somewhere. Now, I know that I like taking Saturday off, but I need to get some work done on Sunday afternoon. So I'm going to do a bunch of studying in the library on Sunday afternoon. Okay. And I'm probably going to do a little bit in the evening too. Okay. I'll probably take off that last one, because I like to reward myself with a little something fun, like a little Netflix. Okay. So here is what I'm finding is we now have a schedule. Now I want to make sure I'm working out as well, right? So I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go do a workout in here, or go for a run outside. And so this is important for me to get in there too. So now we're looking at a schedule that might actually work for me, right? And it's like, oh, I need to actually study. And this is when I'm going to actually do the work. And this is where I'm going to do the work. Basically, this is now your job, is to show up for those classes. Now, let's say you show up for these work times in the place where you're supposed to be working, right? And the place you're supposed to be working is where you have scheduled yourself to work. library, Benny Commons, Storm's Den, right? The other thing is, if you have a class, let's say this 1:30 math class is actually an online class. I want you to pick a time that's going to work for you and go to the class by going to that spot in the go to the library and do class for 3 hours a week, right? You need to schedule in time to do your online classes if they're not synchronized. Okay. Now, that's a lot to say. But I want you to take a look at this. You can go to that URL up here, make a copy, and then you can delete those other ones. Make it work for you. If you get to a place where you're like, yeah, this works for me, my recommendation is you print 2 of these in color. If you don't have access to a color printer, share it with me and I'll print 2 off in color for you. And put one in your the planner that you carry with you, and one on your wall by your bed or on the mirror in your bathroom, so that you can see it every day and like, what is it I'm doing? And then make sure you report to work. In another video, I'll talk a little bit more about sprints and how we use your study time, but this is a good way to figure out, what does my job actually look like in getting what I need to get done. So if you have any questions, let me know.